Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Getting the Edge Advantage Play Workshop. Today's video, we're going to do a fun exercise, and we're going to do an old school betting system or strategy, notorious, but we're going to do it in a unique way, and I've actually incorporated this a few times, and it's actually paid off big once. I'll tell you a little story about it. But let's get into the strategy real quick. So for anybody that doesn't know what a martingale is, you set a goal of, say, winning $100, right? You bet $100 to win $100, vig odds notwithstanding. It's just, for example, it's an even money payout. You bet 100 to win 100. If you win the first 100, you quit, you've hit your goal, you leave. If you have to bet it again, on the next one you bet 200 to recoup the 100 you're already down, and then now to reach your goal. On the third one, right, you now have to bet 300 to then win back that original 100, and so on and so on. But essentially, you're basically having to double your bet every single time, drastically exposing your risk, all to win that measly $100 when the odds are even money, right? No good. And the reason that it fails more times than not is A, you run out of money, or B, you get such a bad run of luck that then you hit the table limit, and now you would have to hit it multiple times in a tight window after already being down. But most people don't have the guts to keep going that deep. Now, in all fairness, a lot of people still use the martingale in roulette and all kinds of games. But as long as they hit it quickly, they can get away with it. But the dynamics change completely when you're playing on a game that pays a huge payout. So let's take the yo, for example. This could be done on the yo or the 3. And I don't suggest doing this, right? But for this example in this video, we're going to do just that. And we're going to show you how we can start at the $5 level. And we're going to increase our bets, not double or not times 2 every single time. But when you're getting such a high payout, all you have to increase is a slight little bit every single time. So, in all realism at a craps table, right? Let's start out at the $5 level. I'm also going to be putting up a chart that shows you how you can scale your bets up $1 at a time until you get to around the $15 mark. And then you're still going to you're going to increase them a little bit, but now you're going to increase them by $5 each time. But if you've got some skill and you have the ability to throw and have decent amount of control with one of the dice, such as throwing a lot of 6s like I claim I can. And the reason I claim is because I see it every day and I know how to make slight adjustments to get the combination that I want. And so that's why it brings me up to trying for the 11. So let's look at this video here. We're going to start out at the $5 level. And we're going to hit it, and we're going to keep increasing our bets every $1 all the way up to the $15 level, and then we're going to start increasing them by 5 each time. Now remember, you're not even going to be coming close to the table maximum on these hot bets if you start out at the $5 level. And if you're a decent shooter and you can hit it somewhere after the 8, 9, 10 mark, right, you're still going to turn a decent profit. If you hit it early on, you're not going to turn much of a profit, but guess what? You are completely risk-free because now you just won at least $75. And this is one of the bets that where the longer it takes you to hit it, doing it this way, the more money you make. So you really shouldn't be feeling the heat the longer you go like you normally would in your typical martingale. So, I'm shooting for this. I'm doing this voiceover after, but I've got the commentary where this is what I set out to do in this video. I did this on the first take, but I know how to manipulate my dice to get 6s. The problem with this one was I just couldn't get the 6-5 combination dialed in, but it's coming. But watch till the end. I want you to see how much money we made on relatively no risk. Now, again, I would never, I would never try this strategy in a real casino. But I would probably incorporate it along with some other bets. Now, obviously, you're going to need to be able to get the dice right back in order to keep doing this without failing out, without distraction. If you have to give the dice up, of course, well, you'll have to just restart your strategy when you get the dice back. Hopefully, it's pretty quickly. Now, a funny story. I essentially do a little bit of this whenever I have the dice. Whenever I'm throwing the dice and I see that I'm getting a lot of 6s, I know I'm probably not going to go on. My roll's not going to go on forever, right? Who wouldn't want that? But it's not likely. But what I know is if I start seeing a lot of sixes and I feel like my throw is dialed in and I'm winning, right? I'll start out betting 10, 15, $25 on the hop, and I will play it for about 10 rolls. And I've hit it one time for $75. That was a pretty nice payout. I have to check my math again, but I know I hit it for the 75. About 1,000. Yeah, 1125. So you figure I lost about 125. I profited about $1,000 off that strategy. Because I hit it within the first about 6 or 7 rolls because I knew my dice. I knew what I was seeing. And I hit it. And sometimes, that if I'm doing it that way, that might be what causes me to get a little more heat than the average player. But also, I wouldn't be trying this if you're betting it on a random shooter. If you're not next to the stick man, that's obviously a benefit because you're not having to throw it back and forth. And you might as well even tell them what you're doing because they are going to know what you're doing after about the 4th roll. And you want to make sure if you really plan on doing it for any decent amount of money, you might want to make sure it's not a problem. And by bringing it up in advance, say, hey, do you mind if I play a little Martingale on the yo? And, I'm assuming they're going to know what it is. The few times I've ever had it brought up, they obviously knew what a Martingale was. Everybody in the gambling business, in and around gambling, knows what Martingale is. But this is a nice little strategy you can add to your to your already other bets, right? It's kind of and you can shield it a little bit, because if you got 300 or 400 out on the place bet, who's going to bat an eye to you betting 25 on the yo? And so obviously it took me a little while to get it. But again, when you hit it later in the series, right? Assuming you don't give up. If you give up, you're toast. It's like selling a losing stock, right? That's when you've lost. But if you hang on to it, you keep going, all you got to do is hit it once. So, and we would have made a fortune on this roll, really. I think I only rolled, I rolled 3 sevens, but having to go back and add this, for the record, we rolled 3 sevens, but 2 of them would have been on the come out roll. So we're putting up the screen of the SOR, SRR. So our 7 out ratio is only 1 out of 9 times because of the 2 come out sevens. And there it is. Got it. All right, so we were down 220, right? That's not much. Not much in relation to what else you might be betting on and all that. And in 15 rolls, what is it, 16 rolls. So it actually took me longer than normal. However, in 15 rolls, our total exposure on that individual bet strategy, we were 220 in the hole, right? That was our total risk, right? Fortunately, we hit it on the 16th roll. And we profited $380. Now, I did start scaling up 5 units at a time once I got to the $15 mark. But I have faith in myself, and I know that, I don't mind pressing my bets a little bit. The same as my method when I treat my session in stages. As my skill starts to develop and I start to see repeaters, right? I know it's a safe bet for me to be betting more than I was in the beginning. And that's why this strategy is perfect for that when you look at it, because if you're taking a while to hit it, even though I was hitting a lot of 6s and I felt like I was doing what I needed to do, I just didn't get fortunate enough with the right combination. But I got there eventually, and we turned a profit. And we basically, so when you factor that in addition to whatever else you might have made, won or lost, nice little bonus for your roll. And it all happened within 16 rolls. So, doing place bets or doing your typical strategy. So food for thought. But one other thing I want to point out is look at the ridiculously high frequency of the 10s I got. And a lot of that was a result of how many 6s. And, that goes back to what I was saying. If you're throwing an off axis and you're seeing a lot more 6s, it's going to skew the roll bias into the high side. This one just happened to be, I hit a ton of 10s, a couple of them hards. I think one was a hard way, but a lot of 6-4s. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. Like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next. We'll be doing a lot more of these in the future. Thank you.